Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Carl, with Empower Multimedia, where we teach young adults about how to maximize their time in college, as well as we teach young adults about entrepreneurship, so maybe one day they can be their own boss. If you're interested in knowing how COVID-19 is going to further impact the future of education, especially higher education, then this video is for you. Because today, this is the topic that we're going to be talking about. Now, remember, before we get into the topic, we are doing a giveaway at 5,000 subscribers. So if you do like this content, please like, comment, subscribe, and help us reach that 5,000 subscriber mark. And we'll be giving away an iPad Pro with a Magic Keyboard. Now, with that being said, let's get into the video. $33,000 is the average student loan debt for students. $340 a month is the average monthly payments for students. And then 10 to 30 years is the average time to repay back those student loans. Those are the stats of a typical amount of student loans, statistics for people that have graduated with a bachelor's in the past. College, as we know, is going through a time that is simply unprecedented. With the COVID-19 pandemic situation that's going on, almost all colleges have been or currently still are going remote. Now, how may this affect the future? Let's get into that. College/universities are expensive. The price was raising, and the price of higher education was just raising what it seems to be year by year. We're not sure how much higher it was going to go because COVID, may play a big role in reversing those fortunes. I'll tell you my beliefs of what the future of higher education may be, as well as I'll tell you the opinions of current professors in academia, because I interviewed one, and tell you what his personal perspective will be. As you can gather from my tone, I do believe, even though college and university is definitely something that I would recommend people to do if they do it purposefully, I do still think that college and universities are in fact overpriced. Now, the reason why it's overpriced is just because the way it's set up. From things that are very, very unnecessary, like prereqs, that's part of the problem of why it's overpriced. Like, for example, business students taking bio classes, and then bio students taking classes that they don't care about, just to kind of get the prereqs done to get into the topics that they actually care about. It's a flawed system. The system was going to break anyways, in my opinion, if there wasn't any change, because a lot of college students are complaining, and the rise of costs are just adding to those complaints. Now, what's interesting because of the pandemic is typically people would go to class in person unless they specifically chose to do online classes. But majority of people don't like online classes because they don't feel like they necessarily get the full effect of teaching unless they're physically present in front of a professor. Now, in terms of what's going on now, they don't really have a choice because of the quarantine rules and the social distancing. Everyone has to be online. It is unfortunate for the people that are paying higher levels of money to kind of live that college experience. Now, for the people that are paying like $50,000 a semester for the college experience, it begs the question, would those people still pay $50,000 to just take online classes for potentially the rest of the year? Now, some of you may ask, well, how is college so expensive in the first place? And I actually think it's based off its foundation. As you may know, majority of colleges/universities depend on tuition from the students to kind of fund the activities, from like the buildings to the professors to all its other resources that they offer to kind of make everything worthwhile. Now, majority of the people depend on student loans to be able to fund everything. So now what we're starting to have is a more intense competition between colleges and universities. Colleges and universities are now battling to make themselves stand as the best one to go to kind of get as many people as possible to apply to their schools. With that being said, that leads to more investment into more buildings, more dorms, nicer dorms, more recreational activities, from gyms to maybe pools, things like that, which creates a cycle of investing, making college more expensive, and reinvesting to make it seem more aesthetically pleasing and the best bang for your buck, which is why there's a cycle of increasing costs, increased competition, and increased student debt, unfortunately. And this gradual increase has led to students not being able to suffer the consequences of student loans any longer. Similar to the workforce, the writing was on the wall in terms of transitioning. Online school seems to be the solution to a lot of what's going on. Now, as you may know, online school is becoming more and more prevalent as an option. The more you would go online, the more ads you would see on the internet referring to online schools, because they targeted the perception of, we understand that you have to work and you have to work full time or part time and you have a lot of things going on and you still want to get an education. So the best way to do that is to go to school on your time. And they're basically appeasing to those of low cost, higher education, and it being very, very convenient. Because to be quite frank, it is not very convenient to always having to go to school in person in class if not necessary. And that this shift is becoming more and more of the norm. My argument is that the norm going forward is that you'll be seeing a lot more online classes in general in academia. If I were to guess right now, I would probably say about 30% of the classes are online. And moving forward, you may be seeing about 50 to 60% of them moving forward online. Especially in terms of the prereqs, like the classes that have about 100 to 200 students. Those are some of the classes I would imagine would 100% move towards online because it's just more convenient for everybody. And I would also think that this transition to online schooling or primarily online schooling is definitely going to lower the cost of education because you would need less of a surface area, and teachers would be able to still provide adequate service just remote. And something that you have to take into consideration is I'll have the link to the video about how COVID may change the job force right up here, as well as in the description. The purpose of school is to prepare its students for the workforce, ideally. School is meant to prepare for people to get jobs and help the economy. And if the workforce may be moving towards a more remote type of environment, schools are going to have to follow suit, or else those students would be inadequate for the position or be inadequate in terms of adapting to real life situations. That's just my opinion, right? In totality, I think the job force, schools, education will be moving towards a more remote setting, and that will just gradually increase until potentially we're 80% or 90% remote. That's just my personal opinion. Now I'll get to you about me interviewing one of my professors, or ex-professors, I should say. I had him for my capstone class when I was getting my bachelor's, and basically after speaking to him for about 30 minutes, I asked him a particular question about how he thinks COVID could affect the future of higher education. And he basically stated in terms of prereqs, he basically agreed with me in saying that they would primarily be moving towards a remote setting, and they were actually doing that already. Now, in terms of higher classes or more, I would say, intense classes, those would proceed to be in person, especially when you reach to levels of degrees such as PhD type of education. Those will always be in person. So he personally doesn't think that there's going to be a large shift in the future, and he thinks that after a year or two, everything will go back to as normal as a sense as it could be. There'll still be more online classes, but not as drastic as what I'm thinking. Now, that's just his opinion, and I have my own opinion. I want to hear your opinions down below. So with that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you think the future of higher education will hold. With that being said, have a wonderful day, be safe, and stay tuned until next time.